Hey crew, what's going on? jMac14 here. Welcome back to another jVlog. Sorry for the lack of videos, but because you probably would know as much as anybody, during this pandemic there's a lot of things that kind of switch and change. I have more family in the house than usual. I don't have the time, the privacy really to record like I used to, so any opportunity that I usually get, I try to record at least something. So but we have the jVlog and some other stuff coming, hopefully as well. So hope you all staying safe and being good to each other, like I've been saying. But this jVlog, I want to discuss a couple of things that have come up and have been in my mind for a while, mainly about gaming in Mac and Mac gaming in itself. So the topics in this jVlog are going to include Magic the Gathering Arena, Vulkan. Why am I talking about Vulkan and Mac? You'll see. The Catalina operating system, and also the announcement that Apple is going to be making their own silicon for upcoming Macs, and what that could look like for Mac gaming in the future. So that's just some of the topics that we got going on right now. So let's first start off with Magic the Gathering Arena. And this is something that, if you are a Mac gamer, something we have been looking forward to for a very long time, the Mac version of Magic the Gathering Arena. Especially somebody like me whose first card game was Magic, to have an actual virtual version of it, to be able to play it, is incredible. And we have waited and it finally came out about a month ago. And unfortunately, we don't have an independent launcher for it. We have to go through the Epic Game Store to use it. And as all other reports, as I'm reporting is too, it is buggy. And my version, at least, when I'm trying to use it, it crashes like crazy. Okay. And I know you Windows gamers out there are going to be like, well, that's because you're running it on Mac. No. Okay. In all consensus with Mac gamers, it's just a bad build of the game, unfortunately. We waited this long and now we have all these problems. It's getting to a point where anytime the Magic Gathering Arena Twitter tweets out that there's going to be a maintenance thing, there's at least one tweet underneath it that says, is this going to fix the issues with macOS version? But we still haven't heard anything. Hopefully they are looking into it and going to fix it so that way it's more stable. Okay, now there's no reason why it shouldn't be unstable, in my opinion. I've done some research, just like I did research years ago. You guys watched my graphic API video, which is one of the most popular ones on the channel. I like to go into some research sometimes. In no means, guys, am I a developer at all. I've had aspirations of being a developer, but in no way do I know like the complete ins and outs of developing and programming a game and all. I'm just looking at this from the more of the outside, but from what I can see here. But it shouldn't be buggy. It shouldn't be crashing like it does, in my opinion, because one, if Epic did take over the Mac version of it to get so that way we could have a version, because Wizards of the Coast said they're not coming out with an independent launcher version of it. It's just all going to be through Epic. And so my take on it was, well, they're probably going to Epic because Epic actually knows how to develop games for the Mac pretty well. I mean, they've been doing it with using the Metal graphic API on iOS for years, and they've also done it here on the Mac. I mean, Fortnite runs on Mac through Metal and stuff. So, and I usually wouldn't have a problem with Fortnite, but just as a little side note, I now have a pet peeve with Fortnite, because Fortnite is the reason why there's not going to be an official release of Unreal Tournament 4, which I have been looking forward to ever since the announcement of it. And it was going to run on Metal. It's going to be on Mac, Linux, Windows. I love Unreal Tournament, but it is now, as of 2017, I believe, it's not have any more updates because they took most of the team that was doing that and put them over on Fortnite. So now I got a bone to pick with you, Fortnite. Okay, so but I digress. But if Epic did take over, like I was mentioning, the Mac version of it, which I have no idea if they did or not, it shouldn't be crashing like this because Epic knows what they're doing when it comes to running on Mac. Okay, The other thing, which I looked up because I was wondering what engine this was running off of, and I looked it up, and it's run on Unity, which should also be another reason why it shouldn't be crashing. Because one, for a little IT history here for you people, Unity was first announced back in 2005 at WWDC. It was supposed to be an exclusive game engine for macOS 10, and now it's out to work on a lot more than just that, but it was going to be an exclusive game engine just for Mac. So yeah, we have that, but besides that point, it run on Unity, and being a car game and stuff, there are other games that I own that run on Unity that run absolutely fine, like Hollow Knight runs beautifully on here. Another car game which it's supposed to be competing with that runs, and I've never had it crash, is Hearthstone. Hearthstone runs on Unity, and it's never crashed for me. I've had it disconnect from servers because you know the whole thing with Blizzard servers, but I've never had it crash on me before. So as Mac gamers, we're scratching our head and wondering what in the heck was this, just a bad build that they're trying to figure out what's wrong with it? Is it what's going on? Because it shouldn't be like this. So they're also looking to the end of 2020 to be releasing the mobile versions, iOS and Android versions of this. Now I'm telling you right now, if the iOS version runs better than the Mac version, I'm going to be very upset, but at least I'll be able to play it without it crashing. And the one reason why you haven't seen a Magic Gathering Arena video yet, or JPlay or anything, is because this game doesn't want anything else hardly running while you're playing it. And even when there's nothing else running but it, sometimes it still crashes. I mean, so I don't know if me having OBS open to try to run it, to try to record it while it's running, is going to make it crash even more or not. But like I said, if the iOS version runs, then I'm just going to have to play it on iOS more until there's a fix for it on Mac. And if that's the case, then I'll just, if I do videos on it, it's just going to be the iOS version. It's going to be like the iPad, the iPad OS version that I'll be playing on my iPad, and I can easily hook it up and have it record through OBS and stuff doing it that way. I mean, I have the means to do that. So yeah, so that's topic number one. Magic the Gathering Arena isn't running like it should, even though it should. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to kind of get off my chest there. The other thing leads me into Vulkan. Vulkan is, if you watch the graphic API video, it's a graphic API. At the time when I did the video, it was just kind of up and coming. Now it's becoming a lot bigger. I'm hoping that more developers go toward Vulkan because it can help with performance a lot more than some of the other things, especially like OpenGL and stuff. So why am I mentioning Vulkan? Because it doesn't, it doesn't really run on Mac and stuff like that. The reason why I'm mentioning it is because of Path of Exile. Okay, if you didn't know, Mac is supposed to be getting a version of Path of Exile, which I'm excited for because I like Diablo style games and I want to try it out and check it out. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because at the same time what they're doing is they're trying to find a way to have Path of Exile run more efficiently on Windows. And the way they're trying to do this is by using Vulkan, which I think is a great idea because, as I mentioned before, it's a lot more stable. It gives you a lot more power and performance versus some of the other ways you can do it. Okay. Now the reason why this correlates over to Mac gaming is in a blog post that they did when they were mentioning how the process was going for them developing the Vulkan version of this. They also mentioned what they were doing with the Mac version, and they directly said that the Mac version of Path of Exile was going to be was based off of how the performance of the Vulkan version of Windows was going to be. And you're probably scratching your head and going, how's that possible? Well, it's possible because there is basically a kit out there called MoltenVK, which basically allows you to run Vulkan over Metal on Mac. So that way you can run games that run on Vulkan on Mac with no issue. It still runs the Vulkan, but it runs it. The MoltenVK just runs it on top of the Metal graphic API that Apple has, and you can use this for iOS and for macOS. So, and this is something that's been done before. If you don't know, Dota 2 did this. and the performance level of at least the Mac version of it that I know of went up dramatically. I think the Windows version did too, because I think they completely switched over to Vulkan. And there's a video of showing the performance of like OpenGL style versus Vulkan style. I have the link to the description down there so you can click on it and actually see the video and see how well the frame rate was. It went from before running like in the 20s, sometimes hitting 30 frames per second, to getting up to 60 and above, like in the 70s and 80s frames per second on it, and the performance just being outstanding. So that's a good thing. If more developers would go toward Vulkan and then use Molten to get it over to the Mac version, it'd be a whole lot better. It would run a lot smoother. It would be a whole lot better. So I applaud the team that is working on Path of Exile for doing this. So good job, everyone. And I appreciate them actually finally saying, yes, we're going to make a Mac version of this. It usually takes us a while, especially for some developers that are bigger, to actually look at Mac gaming. For any game, for the indie developers, they usually go, yeah, we're making it for Windows and Mac Linux. You know, we're going to, they just put it out most of the time. So I'm always excited when a bigger kind of developer, I don't know, I see the team that makes Path of Exile is a pretty big developer, but yeah, I'm glad that they're actually working on it, doing like that. So Vulkan could be, and MoltenVK could be ways that we could get more games and more efficiently play games over on the Mac, which is great. So next, on to the next topic, which is the operating system Catalina and Catalyst is something I'm going to mention. I don't run Catalina on my Mac. I had the one before that. I have Mojave, and the reason why is because if you're a Mac gamer, you know that Catalina not only broke a lot of apps, it also broke a lot of games. Now, the reason why it broke games, everybody was, when it was announced, was thinking that's because Apple has completely got rid of OpenGL on it. Well, technically, they just announced that it's finally gone. For years, they've not really supported OpenGL. That's why there's been some complaints that there hasn't been updated versions of OpenGL on Mac, which is, if you guys don't know, is a graphic API that's mainly used for a lot of games. The main reason why stuff like that breaks on Catalina is because Catalina went away from 32-bit applications and went strictly 64-bit. Okay, so, and there's a lot of games that still run 32-bit that haven't been upgraded to go 64-bit. So yeah, that's one reason why I haven't switched over. And I'm glad when I got this Mac, it didn't have Catalina already on it. It had Mojave, so I could play all my games without a problem. But being that said, sometimes, as Mac gamers, I should warn you, when you go to Steam and sometimes it says it won't work on Catalina, sometimes it will. Sometimes that thing is wrong, okay? Because it's a 64-bit. There's ways that you can go on Mac and see if all your applications are running 32-bit, 64-bit. I think you just go through like the system profile or something and go into apps, and it lists all your apps and tells you if it's got 64 or 32 on it. I've only got maybe about 3 or 4 applications that actually run 32-bit. Everything else runs 64. So there's a couple of games that are on there too. But yeah, this is something that was on my mind. I just wanted to kind of get out there. That's one reason why gaming on Catalina doesn't really work as well. But there are some benefits to it because of gaming on Catalina, because of Catalyst, which, if you didn't know, is a way for developers to have their iPhone or iPad applications or games easily transferred over to become a Mac application. Something Apple's been working on for a while, and they have a lot of their apps that were on iOS that are now over on Mac with the new operating system because they use Catalina, and I've seen a couple of developers using it as well. So, which is a great benefit, because as some of the times there will be games that should be out on Mac, but they don't come out on Mac, but they'll come on iOS. I have perfect examples on my iPad, like Gwent. There's not a Mac version, but there's an iOS version. Recent one is Legends of Runeterra, the Riot card game that's supposed to compete with Hearthstone. Riot knows how to make Mac games. League of Legends and TFT runs on Mac through the client stuff. I don't know why they didn't come out with a Mac version, but there's an iOS version. So, but actually, if they wanted to, through Catalyst, they could take that iOS version of Legends of Runeterra and make it work at least on Catalina. So that's the benefits of that operating system, Catalyst, which basically leads us into the future, which is the next topic I want to talk about, which is basically Apple announcing during this year's WWDC that they were going to make their own silicon. Now, what does that mean? So basically, Apple's been making their own silicon for a number of years. They've been making their own for the iPhone, for the iPad, for the Apple Watch. They also have it in the HomePod, they have it in the iPod Touches, and they also have it in the Apple TV. Basically, it's their own CPUs and GPUs and stuff that are combined together into a single silicon. The reason why they want to do this is because, one, they want to improve wattage and performance and battery life. They also want to turn up the performance on GPUs a lot more. So that way you can have a lot more developers can actually develop more, high-end pro apps that can be able to handle it a lot easier. It also allows Apple to control a couple of things, which it's their devices. I completely understand if they want to do that, but it's going to be a major switch. And I remember when I started out on Mac, way back in 2004, and I started out on what was the PowerPC G4s. And then I remember in 2005 watching, I think it was actually Mac. I don't know if it was WWDC or if it was Macworld or something, but I remember the announcement when they announced that they were going to switch from the PowerPC over to Intel. Like, Intel was actually going to make their processors, and how that was such a big deal because there's going to be a lot more people able to develop for Mac. That's actually, in my opinion, one of the reasons why Mac kind of flourished a lot more is because they flipped over to the Intel base, because a lot more publishers and developers were able to create, because now it's using the Intel processor instead of using this other processor. So yeah, so it's a really big deal. Okay, now as far as like applications are concerned, they're going to do the same thing. They said it's going to be like it's going to take like two years for them to switch around. I think that's pretty ambitious. I think it's going to take at least 3 or 4 in my opinion, but I mean, they could have more concrete plans than what I'm thinking. But at least they're going to have things set up like they did before when they were switching over from PowerPC over to Intel. They're going to have Rosetta and stuff. They're going to have universal apps, so that way if you have one, it can, when you're doing stuff in Xcode and writing your applications, you can actually have it universal and have it work on both the Intel Mac, and you can also have it run on the Apple Silicon at the same time. So that way you don't have to worry about creating 2 different ones or stuff. So yeah, so it's going to be very interesting. I'm not going to be getting one anytime soon. I just bought this one I have, guys. This is 2019. This one's going to last me like 5, 7, 8 years and stuff. But hopefully eventually by then everything will be settled, and all the Mac stuff will be switched over to the silicon stuff, and everything will work great and run awesome too. But when I announced this, I was like, I had 2 emotions. I had one, oh my gosh, that's awesome, and then my brain quickly switched and went, what about games? Because there's already problems with Catalina and dropping 32-bit applications and games, and things that would be 64, even though everything should be 64 anyway, and some developers not wanting to develop on Mac and not going over to Metal and stuff. So, and now not only do we have that, now all of a sudden the GPU and the CPU and stuff are going to be changing different. So in my mind, I had 2 different visions of what the future of Mac gaming would be after once we have these Macs. One, I can completely see Mac gaming going down, okay, unfortunately. I can see developers not wanting to develop for the Mac system anymore because now it's running off of that. I'll run off the Apple Silicon and stuff. I can completely see, like, well, it's not running on Intel, so it's not doing this and that. I can completely see that. But I can also see Mac gaming getting a lot better because there's already developers that are developing on Apple Silicon. They're doing it for the iPhone, they're doing it for the iPad and Apple TV. So if the Mac has the same kind of architecture as iOS and everything does, then it shouldn't be a problem. It's running the same kind of, basically same kind of GPU, same kind of CPU, all the same kind of specs. It should be, in my opinion, a lot easier for developers to make a game to work on everything in the Apple ecosystem after that. So, because if you can develop for iOS, then you can develop it and run on everything else. Yeah. So that's just how I see it. Especially because with it running with the way the silicone and everything is, it's going to it should, like I said, it should be easier, because like, oh, if I can develop like Legends of Runeterra, if they can develop for iOS and it's running off of the same silicone in the Mac that I have, let's say it has the same, you know, kind of architecture in it, then there should be no problem for them either putting it out there through their website or putting it in the Mac App Store, so that way I can download it and play it and, you know, be able to enjoy the game on whatever. Because in my opinion, at least, it's just from one person, but I believe I should be able to play whatever game on whatever platform I want to. If I want to play the game on Windows or Mac or Linux or any of the consoles, play it on mobile, you know, handheld, whatever, I should be able to play it. That's just coming from somebody like an old. That's just coming from an old school gamer, you know, from back in the day, back in the 80s. That's like, you know, I just want to play it on whatever I want to play it on, you know. I understand about exclusives and stuff and like console wars and things like that, and trying to, you know, I understand all about that. But, you know, we're all gamers, no matter what we play on, whether you're playing on Windows or Mac or Linux, or you're console gaming, you're playing on mobile or whatever. It's still the same thing. I'm sick and tired of the whole, well, if you don't play this game, it's this many hours and stuff, you know, then you're not a real gamer and stuff. It always makes my head. I always have to put my head in my hands and stuff and be like, why are these people part of our community and stuff? So it's oh well. But anyway, guys, that's going to end the video right there. That's just some topics about Mac gaming I wanted to talk about. You know, especially the fact that the Apple Silicon thing, because that's huge. So, but hopefully that'll be a good thing in the future. I don't know how that's going to look when it comes to Epic Game Store and Steam and GOG and stuff like that. But as far as like the Mac App Store and the App Store on iOS and stuff like that, it's, you know, it could be a good thing. I know that other developers for other apps shouldn't be that much of a problem. I mean, I don't have any Adobe stuff on here anymore on my newer computer. I've got, for all of my design stuff and stuff, I use, you know, Infinity products, and they're super supportive on Mac, so they're probably already working on a way to, you know, have it work on the silicone stuff, because they already have 2 of their apps working on iOS anyway. So I mean, they know how that works and stuff, and a lot of the other apps that I have work on iOS anyway too. So as far as like regular, you know, productivity or creative apps and stuff like that, it shouldn't be much of a problem. It's just the gaming side that I'm somewhat worried about. But there are, you know, hopes out there, because there's stuff like Gwent and Legend of Runeterra, and, you know, Dead Cells runs on iOS, Stardew Valley runs on iOS. You know, a lot of the indie games and stuff, you know, they're on iOS, so they're running on that silicone and stuff, so they should be able to run on here too. So, but yeah, alright guys, that's gonna end the video. Thank you so much for watching, checking out the channel. Please, I would like it if you would hit the subscribe button, so that way you can stay tuned for more Mac gaming news and gameplays and stuff like that. I am trying to reach a goal of hitting 50 subscribers on the channel. It's not for me to try to, you know, make this as a career or anything like that. I just want to get 50 subscribers, so that way I can change the URL to the channel, so that way it's just easily just youtube.com, you know, -jmac, you know, jmac14. That's all I want it to be, because right now it's just the one they made up for me, so just be easier to get to it. I also have Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook. The link to all the social medias down there below. I would love it if you would follow me on there too. I also have a Discord if you want to join that and talk Mac gaming, or, you know, console game, or whatever you want to just kind of talk about. I'm just trying to create a chill, laid-back, salt-free community. That's what I'm trying to do, especially in this day and age. We kind of need it. So thank you again, once again, guys, for watching the video. Stay safe, take care of each other, be good to each other. I'll see you for another video, and in the meantime, keep gaming.